Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing today? I am your Planetary Defense Commander, Star-Lord New Thor 7. And this video is for the toppest of the top level Asteroid Fight Club members. It's going to be a lot of serious information, and technically it's not the information you probably want to hear on a Sunday morning. You may want to wait till afternoon or later today. All right. But I'm your Planetary Defense Commander, and I'm definitely the best Planetary Defense Commander you ever had, not counting Willie Nelson. And so in today's episode, because I am a Norse Christian Jedi, we'll be covering some very serious topics, including the June 30th Jupiter conjunction, the July 1st Saturn retrogrades into Capricorn, and then we have a July 4th lunar eclipse that will be seen all over America, except for a tiny part of Canada and Alaska. And then to top it off, we're talking about the Nostradamus Comet, Comet C2020 F3 Neowise. And so, hey, I turned the comments off, and this isn't monetized because I don't want anybody interrupting my flow. Because yesterday, if you guys remember that in March, I bought a bottle of whiskey. And then at the end of March and April, I bought a second bottle of whiskey. So I haven't bought any whiskey since April. And yesterday, I went and bought a bottle of Maker's Mark. It is a whiskey, but as you can see, the seal is still on it. Because yesterday, I did not conjure up enough hope or optimism to break the seal and talk to y'all about what I'm talking to you now. I'm really good at what I do. And if you would like to continue to support me, I've got a PayPal that is up. I've got a Venmo that is up. The last video, you can check the links. I got a mailbox, Cash App. I do a great job bringing you guys wonderful information. At a time where everybody thinks they're an expert on everything, and a lot of people give shitty guidance that can get you or your family members killed. And so, we're going to start out with June 30th, the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. Like every single thing astronomically and astrologically about 2020 is pretty weird. We have all the planets, all of them, on the same side of the sun, which creates incredible imbalance, which we are seeing in the collective. And so the last time Jupiter conjunct Pluto was April 4th. We saw over 2,000 coronavirus deaths on April 7th, and then on April 14th, we had our maximum number of coronavirus deaths in a single day at 2,700. And so Pluto is the underworld and Hades, and in many ways symbolizes death. And so just like I spent a large portion of 2019 warning everyone that the Saturn-Capricorn conjunction, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction would bring about some major death event, which has turned out to be the coronavirus. Remember, I, through the help of the wonderful astrological community, told y'all in 2019 we needed to watch out at the January 15th Pluto-Saturn conjunction for some type of a Thanos death event to follow. And so we have the coronavirus. And then we have the Wall Street paid idiots who are trying to convince the left to protest during a pandemic and the right to believe that it is a hoax and that QAnon's mass arrests are eventually coming. And that no matter what, they're trying to steal your freedom by making you wear a mask. That is like the underpants gnomes. Step 1, where people wear masks. Step 3, conquer universe. What is step 2? Nobody knows. And so, with our June 30th Pluto conjunction, the lagging indicators on the eye-popping numbers of the coronavirus we have seen in Texas, Arizona, Florida, Mississippi. I believe on July 3rd is the day when the death totals will start to just pop. And so you have people saying now, Texas hospitalizations has gone up every single day for 16 straight days. We went from like 1,200 hospitalizations to 5,500 yesterday, since Memorial Day. And so, if I'm understanding things correctly, we saw what happened in Wuhan. And one of the main things that influenced me was part of my job, I watched a bunch of the videos that came out of Wuhan the first 3 days that it happened. And they were stacking kids in a hospital that were dead. They were stacking bodies outside the doors. And then they scrubbed the internet of all the videos. But I saw those videos and they were real, as far as I know. Like nobody else saw them. I even included one in one of my videos. It was so horrifying. To try to prepare you guys for what was coming next. And so then New York and New Jersey got hit really hard. We didn't do like Wuhan, we just stuck our head in the sand. And then New York hit and everybody just stuck their head in the sand. Like 30,000 New Yorkers died. Like, was that like 10 times the number of 9/11? Is that 33 9/11s? And then people just stuck their head in the sand. Like, the only thing that matters is sports and the election. And so, if the Jupiter-Pluto, if I'm reading this correctly, we are going to see some large death totals, probably starting around the 3rd of July. And then you got Saturn retrograding into Capricorn, which means the lockdowns are coming back, bro. I don't give a shit about your opinion on this matter. I have been giving great forward guidance all year long and even before this started. I said, hey, Asteroid Fight Club, all through 2019, be prepared for a death event. It's slow Thanos. It's here. You got 20% of people living in some political fantasy land. And so, when you start to get back to 2,000 deaths, when you start to get hundreds of Texans dying, then yeah, they're going to shut everything back down. Just like Texas rolled back opening bars, and Florida rolled back opening bars. And Texas started to have a business mandate. If you're going to enter a business, you got to wear a fucking mask. Now here's the big deal, man. And I've done my best to train y'all. I've done my best to make you look beyond left, right. And that there are 2,000 billionaires. And there are probably 100 trillionaires. And that they're playing a totally different game. And that right now they're definitely trying to get both sides to get infected. I don't know if it's for herd immunity or if they're going to roll in what they're going to do next. But we have just misplayed the first 6 months about as bad as you could. And so here's the big information, man. This is Asteroid Fight Club level, Astonisher level, like, if there are any superheroes out there, this is for you. So July 4th, we have a lunar eclipse that will be seen in all of South America, all of Central America, all of the lower 48s, a large portion of Canada. Alaska and a little portion of Canada won't see it. The last time we had a lunar eclipse that you could see in like all of the lower 48s was July 2001. And so Nostradamus had said wait, scratch that. So basically you have a giant energetic point that after our triple eclipse, so this year we'll see 6 eclipses total. Most years see 3, I think. And so this year we'll see 6 eclipses total. Totally anomalous. With the way it is set up, Pluto will conjunct with Jupiter 3 times, which is like unheard of. And Mars usually spends a month and a half to 2 months in Aries, which is war. In 2020, Mars will be in Aries for 6 months. And so the July, we had a major solar eclipse on Christmas. And now we have a major penumbral lunar eclipse on July 4th. And so it's like a giant energetic ball in the sky. And yes, groups have already made plans to do horrible satanic things with that energy. And so we, the good guys, have to do something so strong and positive that it disrupts their plans. Like all my Christian brothers and sisters, you're going to have to find a little love in your heart. You are probably going to have to help me save the world. Although, I'm going to do what I can to save the world all by myself in case nobody helps. And so, let me recap for the people who are just joining us. Yesterday, Mars went into Aries, and it will be there for 6 months, which is highly anomalous. On June 30th, we have Jupiter and Pluto conjuncting in the sky, which is highly anomalous because it will be happening 3 times. It happened the first time in mid-April, right before all the deaths from the coronavirus spiked in the USA. It is happening on the 30th, which is in 2 days. And I am predicting that we will see the deaths in the USA totally spike about 3 or 4 days after that. And then it will conjunct again in November. And so, death is coming. Death has been here. We're going to get another giant shot of death, man. And then July 1st, Saturn is retrograding back into Capricorn. And when Saturn initially went into Capricorn, it's when all the shit really started to unravel. And so, yes, lockdowns are coming back. Just like I told you at the very start of February, we were going to have lockdowns in the middle of March. And I want to know, all the people who are anti-mask, or who believe that this was a hoax, or believe it's no worse than the flu, how did that messaging help you over the last 5 months? I specifically told y'all at the beginning of February, we were going into lockdown in the middle of March. So get mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally prepared for lockdown. And it's why I started drinking in March, because it was not fun telling everyone, hey, we're going into lockdown, man. It is not fun talking to people and telling the truth accurately now about the coronavirus. It is not fun being one of the only non-hive minds in the truth community. And so, yeah, I bought a bottle of Maker's Mark whiskey because the death days are coming back, man. And we have screwed the pooch about as bad as you can over the last fucking 5 months. Yesterday, I felt hopeless for like 10 hours. Despondent. Because it's hard to fix stupidity. And part of my challenge is somehow converting the 25% of people in the USA who have bet their life, their soul, their mind, their future on utter stupidity. So I have to convert the stupidest people on the planet. Does that sound like a fun job to you? And remember, since the dumbest people have been convincing people that the coronavirus is a hoax, Memorial Day, Texas hospitalizations have gone from 1,200 to 5,500. And that will continue to climb over the next 2 weeks. And we will see deaths. And so these dumbasses are getting people killed. All right, and then fourth, we have the Nostradamus comet. I'll make a video today showing that so far the comet C2020 Neo-Wise is still together. And it is giant. It is huge. It is bright. It is now at a 0.6 magnitude. And so 2020 is like Act 3 of every good movie that you ever saw. And so somewhere around the middle of July, anywhere from the 4th on, this thing is going to come over the ecliptic, separate from the sun, and so we can see it. No matter what, unless this thing falls apart or gets zapped with ray beams, I am 90% sure we are going to be able to see this comet in the sky, which is very exciting, and why I put a heart behind the comet. You know? And then, you know, you take the weird weather watch up a notch, take the earthquake watch up a notch, take the volcano watch up a notch. So yeah, look for, I've been bad at timing to the day the next stock market leg down crash, but it's coming. It's coming. But, you know, we will see the large death totals in my state of Texas, probably Florida, you know, and then we'll get locked down again. I thought we'd have the summer, but it looks like That was way too optimistic. It's weird, man, being like the optimistic guy. I never thought like we would have gotten this ingrained into stupidity and hate and anger and racism. I never thought the bad guys would be so good at what they do. I mean, even the protests, I predicted months in advance that the day we hit 100,000 coronavirus deaths in the USA, some major event would take away from the energy and the focus. And then we had the George Floyd death that led to the protests. I called that from months out and said the money team would use it to distract everyone from the main fight, which is the plague. So they lured a bunch of Democrats out. Now, the good news on top of that is a lot of them were wearing masks, though, a portion of the uptick is definitely because of the fucking protests. I've been the guy that's like, protests are bad now. I understand the systemic racism and that the horrible treatment over the last 400 years, but this is literally the worst fucking time to have a protest because we have a pandemic and having to convince the people who see President Trump as like 1,000 times more powerful than Jesus. That it's real. Even though the Bible warns of a plague or plagues multiple times in the book of Revelation. So I hear the same people who are quoting the book of Revelation always totally ignoring and skipping over the plague parts and only focusing on the beast part, the mark of the beast part, the New World Order part, which I still can't find, by the way. Can somebody show me where it says there will be a New World Order? So it's been maddening. And I imagine this bottle of whiskey will I'll tap the cork or break the seal today, maybe. Because, like I said, I have a feeling I'm going to survive. That one thing between us, this is Asteroid fucking Fight Club, man. Saturn goes retrograde into Capricorn, so that is some heavy karmic shit. Heavy karmic shit. And so I don't think good things are going to happen for the people who have been keeping hate in their heart. The people that have been wishing ill on other people. Like, karma's about to swing its giant sheath and kill a bunch of people. Bunch of people about to die, man. I hope I'm wrong. Come back in 2 weeks and be like, dude, you were totally wrong. Everything's super improved. And, things got all better after the 30th. And as Planetary Defense Commander, what happens, hypothetically, worst case scenario? Donald Trump and Biden are both fucking over 70. What happens if he gets the coronavirus and dies? Our president. What happens if Biden gets it and dies? What happens if both of our presidents get the fucking virus and so 100 days before the election, we don't have a president? We don't have an election, really. What happens then? As far as I know, I'm the only fucking person asking that question. And then you add on top of it the war with India and China that has lit back up. We have intercepted bombers off Alaska like 6 times in the last month. I think Putin's pissed at everyone. So yeah, this is the like, it's gonna be the craziest fucking July of all time. Like I said, my karma is good. Spent the last 7.7 years getting everybody ready for this, trying to get people to rise above politics, trying to keep hope and love in your heart, knowing that better days will get here, but that shit is going to suck while we are still in deep solar minimum conditions. Empires fall and crumble during solar minimum. Empires rise during solar maximum. We are in a deep solar minimum. And until the sun wakes up, shit is going to get shittier. But you contain a little star inside of you, your heart. Just like Earth has a core inside of it, your heart is your core. And the key to your magnetic and or your brain is the electric field, I think. And that, so I need everyone, and you know, like no matter what, like let's say bad guys are coming to get me in a week. I'm going to do everything I can to enjoy this whiskey when I do drink it. I'm going to do everything I can to enjoy my guitar. I'm going to do everything I can to, when I go for a walk, if I see a pretty lady, I'm going to be like, wow, she's beautiful. I'm going to do everything I can to appreciate every single good moment that comes to me from now and while I'm alive. That as shitty as shit gets, I'm going to still try to find the beauty and the joy in it. Because my dad and stepdad and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that's how I was raised. And if I died today, man, I think I did it right. And I'll probably get comments in this section. People will be like, no, you didn't. You didn't do it right. Only God can judge, yo. And so the next 6 months are going to be super intense. We're probably going to lose a lot more people. And socialism is crumbling before our eyes. Communism is crumbling before our eyes. Capitalism is crumbling before our eyes. And the bad guys keep trying to sell you some depopulation Agenda 2030 plan. And what I'm saying is we need a really, really good 2020 to 2030 plan. We need a new plan. And we need to come together as one Earth family. Everybody needs to play planetary defense right now, man. Because if playing great defense increases your chances of survival. And it's like in a whole risk-reward thing. This is what blows my mind is like, as a screenwriter, I can think of multiple different cases. And as a good screenwriter, you try and think of every possible scenario. And so, the people who are convinced that the virus is not real or a hoax or no worse than the flu never take a single second out of their day to think, what if I'm wrong? What if the virus is real? They do not have the mental capacity, the imagination, or the understanding to recognize they could be wrong. So, for example, let's say I was wrong and there was no virus. By me wearing a mask, I'm not taking any fucking chances. So the risk reward, the risk is like I might get a facial sunburn. You know, I've seen so many things that show that you definitely get oxygen. You can breathe oxygen through a mask. So that But if the reward is I'm keeping, by wearing it, if I'm right and there's a virus, the mask keeps me safe and other people safe. But think of it the other way. If the virus is real, by not wearing a mask, you put yourself in danger and you put every single fucking person around you in danger. Especially people over the age of 60 and especially people over the age of 70. And that some people, despite all the evidence we've seen in the United States, in China, in Brazil, in Israel, in Turkey, in Saudi Arabia, in Africa, in Greece, in Italy, but despite everything we've seen across the fucking globe, they have looked at that and said, I'm way smarter than all the data. And that I know 100% without a doubt this thing is a hoax, so I'm not going to wear a motherfucking mask. And the weird irony is, if our president had enough self-esteem to wear a mask in March and tell everybody to wear a mask in March, we would have probably had less than 10 or 20,000 casualties, and we could have mostly been open by now. With everybody having to wear a mask for the next 2 fucking years till the sun knocks this out. But it is my belief that Wall Street, the street, the powers and the money have tried, they worked hard, just like Nostradamus warned us, that they would have secret plans to get everybody infected, and that their fucking shitty capitalist prison for profit, fucking horrible healthcare, privatized system would then make shit tons of stock while everyone else had major troubles. And another thing, that you have millions of people getting unemployment assistance. And so that runs out in July. By letting that lapse, that would create a situation where the United States would just be like a fucking powder keg. Because then you have anywhere from 10 to 20 million Americans who don't have a solid way to pay their bills. And so all year, I've been about, since February, make sure everyone's fed, make sure the lights are on, water's running, you got a place to stay, and since it's the 20th century, internet for everybody. And that we figure out how to make it through 2020 together. That plan was not popular. So now it's like some weird satanic Darwin war against the people. And the people are so divided. Yeah. Right now our chances look kind of dim. Like I said, I haven't even had enough optimism to crack open a bottle of whiskey. But God is great and Christ is my king, so I will carry on doing what I can to protect people, and especially our elderly and our grandmas and our grandpas. So there's your roadmap, man. June 30th, Jupiter, Pluto, the second of 3 conjunctions. We're going to see the death spike. And the markets probably go down again, but in a major way. July 1st, Saturn retrogrades into Capricorn until November. And technically, they have a thing called a Saturn transit. When Saturn goes through your sign, I am like Sagittarius Capricorn. So for almost 6 years, I've had Saturn up in my business. I went from having a wonderful job, tons of friends, being surrounded by beautiful, cool, funny women, tight with my family, living on the ranch while still working for some of the top civil trial lawyers in Texas to I've been in a foxhole for like 2.5 years. Well, 3 years, but like I've been in lockdown for like a year. Lost my car, lost everything. Don't really, like. So I got like 5 or 6 more months of this shit left. I've given it up, and I don't regret it. Like I said, A, I'm really good at Planetary Defense Commander. B, part of me totally loves the pressure. What's going to happen next, though? I don't know. Like the whole energy point at July 4th, lunar eclipse that everyone will be able to see in America. What are we going to do with that energy? And the bad guys have been planning for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 100 years on what to do with it. That does not discourage me. Because at the core level, they're gearing up to make major mistakes, as they have been since 2017. So please forgive me, but definitely for the next month, I'm going to be wearing a giant shield. Because like even in June, I've had 150,000 people come through Thor News. And I'm sure, but it's over 100,000. Like, I'm sure those are multiples, but I'm just saying that, like, I get a lot of people that show up online, and a large percent disagree. And not only disagree, they like wish me death and harm upon me because I didn't agree with their stupid fucking opinion. Like, you may have the dumbest fucking opinion in the universe, but I don't wish harm upon you. And most of those people don't have a fucking sense of humor. And if there was a rule number 1 in Asteroid Fight Club, it's have a sense of fucking humor. The last thing I want to do is be around or near all negative people who don't have a sense of humor. It is Asteroid Fight Club versus the negative Nancy nihilists who are trying to convince you that there is no hope. That the bad guys have a plan that is so rock solid, there's nothing we can do to disrupt it. That doom is coming, there ain't shit you can do. People try to convince you Jesus didn't forgive everybody. And that Jesus doesn't forgive you. Well, I don't believe that. I think Jesus has forgiven me, and he forgives me daily. Though it helps to ask for forgiveness. And not only do I ask for forgiveness for myself, I ask for forgiveness for everyone. Because we have made a lot of mistakes in the last 7,000 years. But yeah, this information is pretty fucking gloomy. But either way, like, I think Nostradamus said in July, and the Nostradamus year we have been using has been working like a charm. It's locked in step. It helps us. It's good guidance. As I believe prophecy is there for damage mitigation. It's how I have a picture. When we avoided John Titor World War III in 2015, it was me, Jack Steele, Fitzroy, and Apollo. We went to NASA on our own, together. And we were like 4 kids, and we had like the best day ever. So what did the bad guys do? They totally fucking annihilated my team. My team was much bigger than that, but like my whole guy squad was just completely destroyed. After we saved the world. And so now we are back in 2020. And we got to save the world again. We got to save the world like every fucking week. And that's how it's going to be for the rest of 2020. We got to save the world every fucking week. And I get people saying, you shouldn't cuss. And I'm like, well, when the world isn't so fucked up, I will stop using the only words that are appropriate to describe 2020. Until then, your candy ass is going to have to toughen up, bitches. And I love you. But hey, yeah, if you want to contribute or donate to my PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, this is what I do for a living. I'm your planetary defense commander. Oh my God, my job gets harder every day. But I'm not complaining. Y'all treat me great. I'm still alive. And there's still a chance one day I may get to kiss a beautiful woman. And there's still a chance we may get to a peaceful outcome where we can live without war and hating each other. And that has always been my goal. But please know that I love y'all. And no matter what happens, even if we fuck this up, we'll probably get another chance or a million chances until we get it right. Like my dreams have been so crazy. And my dreams continue to get crazier. Like 2 nights ago, the only thing I can really remember was it was like me and somebody walking down the street in a city, and these giant, what seemed to be cop cars came racing down the road, and then they smashed into something. The car split open, and then the like wounded guy in the car got out, and he started to grow, and he grew into like a 5D, meaning like in my dream, I could remember that it was like so, like it looked like something 5D in my dream, and he grew into some giant, like Powerball Z demon thing. He didn't end up, he couldn't hurt me or anything, but I just watched this person heal and become like some giant fucking horned demon. I was like, whoa, my dreams have gotten fucking crazier. And then before that, I was in some Arctic base, and then we just got word that we'd had a major defeat in the like 30,000 year Mayan War. But you know what, Forrest, one of my mentors, he emailed me the other day, and he said, do you know what probably killed the Mayans? A pandemic. Well, it could be aliens. He says some weird shit. Oh yeah, the Mayans and the Aztecs were big on eclipses, lunar, and the planets. And I've been trying to remind people that we're in a big solar system. And it's a big planet. So for people to be focused on an election that comes in 130 days, just like the dumbest shit ever. Like, look how much the world has changed now. You know, just in the last 6 months, look how much it has changed. How much do you think it's going to change in the next 5 months, bro? And there's still a weird shadow hanging over New York of like dark energy that needs to really be avoided. Like I said, positivity, like that is, we have to fight an onslaught of negative nihilist Nancy's. And so far, our team skills need to go up a notch, and they need to improve. Life is wild, yo. All right, so love you. This one wasn't easy. Pluto-Jupiter conjunction is going to be huge. Then we got the Saturn retrograding on the 1st of July. So tons of restrictions are coming back for everybody, whether you like it or not. And then you got the July 4th lunar eclipse. The last time over the Americas, the last time we had a lunar eclipse over the Americas, July 2001. Like, what, 2-3 months before 9/11? And so, you know, like I said, it's like binary options. That like, are we as a collective going to choose the super negative, hateful, go into a darkness direction? Or are we going to choose uniting as one Earth family and going towards positive direction? And there are a lot of people who are just addicted to negativity. They're just addicted to self-fear. That they can't imagine good things happening. Well, I'm me, dude. And I still believe good guys are going to win and things are going to improve. Though I think it'll help when the sun wakes up. But for now, we have to be our own stars. So buckle up. Oh yeah, and that comet I think is going to be a huge deal. Oh, and then just as part of my Thor News monthly fundraiser donation, there is a millionaire, billionaire out there who wants to just donate a Mustang to me. That'd be great. If I could do one simple thing right now, it would be go for a drive. I would love to go for a drive. Oh my God. I think I have cabin fever times like a million, but I'll survive. All right, hopefully I'll get optimistic enough to drink whiskey. I love you. Stay tuned. Be cool. Be smart. Wear a fucking mask. And if you have bet your soul, your future, all your energy on a politician, it is not too late to change. Because like I said, hypothetically, what happens if we lose Biden and Trump, the coronavirus, it is possible. What happens then, bro? I get that worst case scenario is not everybody's favorite thing. And rock and roll, good music would help. Anything positive will help from now until the end of the year. So, I made a giant deal about the Christmas solar eclipse. And I even made a video that said the whole world will change from as you know it by the end of 2020. Never said anything like that before. And it kicked off at the Christmas eclipse. And then now we've got the bookend, which is the July 4th lunar eclipse. I was talking about 3-act structure. The universe is a 3-act structure. This is the third of 3 summer eclipses. And so the energy is just going to be like whoosh on every single level after the third eclipse. And so shout out, thank you to the atmospheric defense team, the Prayer Warriors, Asteroid Fight Club. Right now it looks like the Saharan dust and the giant Azores High are keeping hurricanes under control. That may change in the 2nd or 3rd week of July. But it is weird, the things that Asteroid Fight Club is focused on, asteroids and hurricanes, right now they seem to be the 2 things at this moment I have to worry about the least. So that's cool. So yeah, a peaceful planet. I do not believe it is impossible. The promised land. It's ahead. I hope we get there together. God bless you. Everyone have a great day. Please stay cool.